Hello dear students. In this unit of cell biology, we have already studied two chapters. Cell, the unit of life, and cell cycle and cell division. This is chapter number 9, biomolecules. A very important and very interesting chapter. These concepts which we are going to study in this chapter, we are applying it to next units which are given in your book in class 11th bio, as well as we will be using these concepts in genetics and biotechnology. So please be very careful, very attentive with these topics. And yes, this topic is there in class 12th chemistry. So you have to be very attentive while studying these topics, very important. So in this chapter, we will be studying all these topics. Let's first very quickly go through these topics. What are they? We will begin with analysis of chemical composition. Followed by we will differentiate between primary and secondary metabolites. And then we will study the difference between biomicromolecules and biomacromolecules. Then we will study about the biomolecules, that is proteins, lipids, polysaccharides, and finally nucleic acids. And then we will study the concept of metabolism, including these biomolecules. And then we'll study about the living state, how dynamic is the living state. And then finally, a very important and interesting topic, we will study about the enzymes. So these topics are very important. So today, in today's lecture, I will take first three topics. That is analysis of chemical composition, differences between primary and secondary metabolites, and then we will differentiate between biomicromolecules and biomacromolecules. So let's begin with the first topic of the chapter, analysis of chemical composition. So let's take up the first topic of the chapter, that is how to analyze the chemical composition in the living organisms. For that you must know all organisms are made up of cells and their products. Okay, and cell is called as the basic unit of life, and cells combine to form the tissues. So if we have to analyze the biomolecules, we will have to take the cells or the tissues and then process it in such a way that we can separate the different components present in it. So there is a simple process in that a living tissue, it may be a plant tissue or an animal tissue, that is taken up and it is mixed with trichloroacetic acid, and then it is grinded in the pestle and mortar. Then as a result, a thick slurry is produced. This thick slurry is then strained or filtered either in the cheesecloth or cotton cloth. Okay, and then we get two parts. One part which is the filtrate, and other part is called as the retentate. So the filtrate is called the acid soluble pool and retentate is called as the acid insoluble pool. In the acid soluble pool, generally there are biomicromolecules present in it, whereas in the acid insoluble pool, it has mainly biomacromolecules. They are big molecules. Before going into biomicromolecules and macromolecules, let us know certain topics, certain terms which are used in analysis. First is the fresh weight or the wet weight. Any living organism, the solvent is always water. So when we take any living organisms, along with the water, there are so many other chemicals present. So when we don't exclude water, we include water also in the weight while weighing the organism, a living organism. That weight is called as the fresh weight or the wet weight. Okay. Then there is a term called as dry weight. Dry weight is the weight of the organism or any tissue where the water is removed. Generally, we oven dry it. We oven dry it in such a way that whatever water is there, it is removed. That is called dehydration. Okay. And then we analyze whatever is present in it. So in that dry weight, there will be organic weight as well as inorganic weight. But water will not be there. Then comes the ash. When we heat the molecule, we just heat it, and whatever chemicals are present, they disintegrate. The bonds are broken. Only the elements remain. So that elemental weight is called as the ash. Okay. So in this chapter, we will be studying basically the dry weight having organic components in it. Though in a molecule, in a tissue, there are many inorganic molecules also, like there is a lot of salts present in the body. There are cations, anions present. There is calcium iron, then manganese, magnesium, so many different micromolecules and macromolecules are there. But we will, in this chapter, we will be focusing on the biomolecules, not the inorganic compound. So let's first study about the different types of metabolites present. So all the organic metabolites which are present in a cell, they can be categorized into either primary metabolites or secondary metabolites. What are primary metabolites? All those metabolites which are taking part in growth, development and reproduction of the organism are known as primary metabolites. Whereas the secondary metabolites, they do not have any role in growth, development and reproduction. So this is the first difference. The second difference, because they are formed during the growth phase, because they are used in the growth, so they involve energy metabolism. Energy is required for conversion, for production, for disintegration. So they are always in a state of dynamic equilibrium. They are moving. Conversions, bioconversions is taking place. Okay, so involves the energy metabolism. Whereas the secondary metabolites, because they are formed towards the end of the growth phase, so energy metabolism is not there. They are just stored. They are not taking part actively in the metabolism. Okay. Now, let us see the examples. The primary metabolites include amino acids, nucleotides, sugars, then acetic acid, lactic acids, vitamins. All these are primary metabolites. They have a specific role for different phases of growth, development and reproduction. Right? Now, the secondary metabolite, they can be grouped into many categories. Let's see. You must know the examples. So, these secondary metabolites may be pigments. Few examples of the pigments are like carotenoids, anthocyanin, then alkaloids in the form of morphine, codeine. Then they will be in the form of terpenoids. Examples are monoterpenes, diterpenes. Then there are essential oils, very aromatic oils like lemongrass oil. Toxins, there are various toxins present in the plant. For example, abrin, ricin. Then there may be lectins in the form of concanavalin A. Then there may be many polymeric substances in the form of gums, rubber, cellulose. All these are there. Then there are drugs in the form of vinblastine, curcumin. So these are all secondary metabolites. They do not directly take part in the energy metabolism. They are stored and then can be used in the in commercial purpose by human beings. So from the plant and animal point of view, they are not important. But from commercial point of view, they are very important. We can extract them and we can use them for various purposes. So this was the difference between primary metabolites and secondary metabolites. Now let's switch over to the third topic. Let us now differentiate between biomicromolecules and biomacromolecules. As the term suggests, the meaning of biomicromolecules means biomolecules which are small, and biomacromolecules means biomolecules which are big. But now the question arises, what is the limit? How much small? How much big? So, all those biomolecules whose molecular weight is less than 1000 daltons, they are grouped under biomicromolecules. And the ones which have higher molecular weight, more than 1000 dalton units, they are grouped under biomacromolecules. Biomicromolecules, they are having simple structure and they show higher water solubility, whereas these biomacromolecules, they have very complex molecular structure, and that's why they are generally insoluble in water. Now let us see the examples. Examples of biomicromolecules are amino acids, sugars, nucleotides, lipids, water and minerals. Out of all these, first four, amino acid, sugar, nucleotides and lipids, they are organic. They are organic molecules. Whereas water and minerals, we consider them inorganic. So in this chapter, we will not deal with this. We will be focusing on the organic molecules. Right? Now, examples of them are proteins, carbohydrates, nucleic acids. These lipids, they are showing certain structures, certain properties like micromolecules, and they are also showing certain properties which are shown by macromolecules. Let's find out. See, lipids, if you consider one molecule of lipid, its molecular weight is generally around 800 dalton units. So it is less than 1000 dalton units. So it should be kept under biomicromolecules. But generally, lipids, they don't remain as single molecule. In fact, they aggregate together and they form vesicles. First point. Also, lipids are water insoluble. They are hydrophobic. They are not showing solubility with water. So, they are not showing certain characteristics which are shown by micromolecules, biomicromolecules. That is, though they are individually, they are showing molecular weight less than 800 daltons, but they don't remain individually. They are always present in the vesicle form. Second, they are insoluble in water. That's why these lipids are considered or grouped under biomacromolecules. But if I ask you, are lipids true biomacromolecules? Then your answer should be no. Under certain conditions, we consider them as biomacromolecules. Okay, this question is asked. So when we will study all these structures, we will study their details, their composition, their functions in the different cells. Okay, so in today's lecture, we have studied about the chemical analysis. Then we differentiated the primary metabolites and secondary metabolites and differentiated between biomicromolecules and biomacromolecules. In the next chapter, we will take up these biomolecules individually. Okay, thank you.